Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. And you're watching Talking Downey. Hey folks, how are you? Here we are in late January, and man, the city is alive and things are starting to pick up. And our Talking Downey show today is going to be about the council meeting. We always go, city councils are the second and the fourth. So we do this afterwards, the day after, and we'll tape this. This will drop on Friday, so when you're seeing this. And the shows are usually about the items on the council agenda, explained a little bit differently and what's going on and what are the issues that are happening. So last night's meeting was pretty long. They had a lot of presentations. I will recap for you the agenda, if you will. So under the presentation, you had the Mayor's Excellence Award to Lupita Infante. You had the Mayor's Excellence Award to David Velazquez, entertainment correspondent, journalist, I guess, and a Downey resident. Mayor's Excellence Award to the Tournament of Roses, the Rose Parade. Downey Rose Float Association always makes us proud, and they won the Wrigley Legacy Award. Then there were certificates to, we told you that story that happened at Downey Unify where an umpire passed out, and some of the coaches that were there and some of the parents that were trained were able to save his life. And this is a recap and thanking all those people that saved that gentleman's life. He was actually at Downey Unified in November. I happened to be there. So it's an incredible story. So last night they recognized even the student nurse that had a part to do with it. They presented city pins to the Miss Downey Court, and then the certificates of the new appointments for the districts 1, 2, 3, and 5. And then they had a presentation by the Stay Arts. So 7 items. And I think I've heard some grumblings on there. You know, people that want to come and talk on there, you had 7 presentation items. And that, that takes, an hour and something. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm hoping maybe they'll cut it back. But I mean, everything there is deserving, of course, and especially if you're the one, maybe they want to break them down. They could have done some broken down, but that's nobody's, there's no harm, no foul. It is what it is. So the big topic item last night was really approving of the lights at Ferman Park for Little League seems to be the big issue and the big discussion. I guess they had 29 speakers that came last night. It was about half and half, really. They're talking about the future of putting lights. It's got to go through a big process at the Little League field at Ferman Park, those 2 fields back there. So, of course, you had all the Little League parents that were there and saying how great it is. And, they need lights so they can play until 9 o'clock because the sun goes down and et cetera, et cetera. And that's, I understand that completely. I was with West Downey Little League for 29 years, served as their president. We always wanted lights and never could. So, yeah, when a daylight savings time, it gets dark early and you have a short amount of time that you can use the fields. But you had the other hand last night. You had the residents that live on Wiley Burke and all those streets, and they said, hey, they bought these homes. This is a community park. This is a neighborhood park. It was built in 1956. And they're not opposed to Little League. They said they're always throwing balls back into the field. But they can't find parking when Little League is on, right in front of their house, because there is no parking there. So to have that disruption until 8, 9 o'clock at night is unconscionable to them. Number one, they're parking, but number two, you have the crowd noises, you have the stereos, you have the yelling, the cheering, the trash, the commotion afterwards. There's a lot of disruption in that neighborhood. And to be honest with you, we're changing their quality of life by adding lights and extending it. They've lived all this time without it. And now you're saying, they say, hey, listen, it ends, in the daylight time. It ends at 6, 7 o'clock. But they get some peace and they get their parking spot back. But, with this, to continue that same interaction till 9 o'clock at night was unconscionable. So a lot of them declared that. There was a 90-year-old man that came and says, I love kids. I love Little League. My kids went through Little League there. But please don't harm my calmness in my neighborhood by doing that. So there was also a little bit of discussion about how the fields are even utilized. So a couple weeks ago, my grandson went. My grandson is playing, and I wanted to play catch with him, and we went to the fields there because they weren't being used. They're not reserved in the off season, but they're totally locked up. So I contacted them and says, "Hey, why is this locked up?" "Oh, we need to keep the fields locked up because dogs will come on there and do their thing, because people will ruin the fields, because we spent a lot of money raking the fields and we worked these fields and so forth." And I totally understand. I know what it was like, the hard work to do that at West Downey, but these are city fields. So West Downey should have priority. They've been there for a long time, but when it's in off season, they can't keep. I mean, those two fields take up the majority of the park, and there's no place else to really hold batting practice or pitch to them. You could do it at the little t-ball field, but my son, my grandson's almost 10 now, and he's going to hit the ball, and somebody's going to get hurt. So they always talk about safety. So I thought that was a weird thing. And so we jumped over the fence. I knew we couldn't get thrown out because it's a public field and there's nothing happening on it. So I think that's my problem, is that you can't commandeer public property. So I understand the dugouts being things so people don't sleep in them, but the field's got to be left open on there during the non-season time. That I'm just real adamant about that. And I guess I'll keep climbing over the fence, which then makes a safety hazard for me and the league and the city. If somebody gets hurt climbing over the fence, whose responsibility is it? Because that's always a gray area. But anyways, so bottom line, what happened last night, all this discussion, and I guess there's a water line bond issue that came through. They're going to be looking at how to redo the entire park, but and maybe put lights in as part of it, lights that go straight down. But there's still a public hearing process. They're going to be looking at that, the staff said, in June and July, and doing a lot of public outreach. So neighbors of that area, you get a chance to have that discussion and to voice your opposition to it. I think that the lights, I think unless they allow it to be used for something else, can in the off season, can it be used for softball? Can it be used for a team practicing? I understand it's got to be Downey residents and Downey kids, but you can't then put lights up and then still keep the fields closed. That doesn't make any sense to me. So anyways, we'll have a discussion. Councilwoman Dorothy Pemberton represents the area. She also brought up, when you leave concerts in the park on those Wednesday nights, at 8 o'clock it's dark. Well, this lighting, can this include that area up along Reeves, or even some more of the walking trail? That walking trail, that was one of my ideas during Healthy Downey, and we were successful in getting one there and one at Apollo. So it didn't have lights originally, but you guys remember how many lights Lakewood Boulevard had, those lighting fixtures? So what we did is we took every other one off of there and we put them on along the walking trails. So Healthy Downey, we applied to a grant for $250,000 to have one of the walking trails, and then we thought we'll decide whether Ferman or Apollo Park. So then we actually got it, but we got one for each. So I was still on the council, and I was so proud. And I'll tell you, you see those walking trails, they're used all the time. So I'm pretty glad that legacy has continued from that. So anyways, so those are some of the big ticket items. All the other ones, one was about getting traffic bollards on Downey Avenue. We had seen a presentation in Downtown District about these portable parking separations of Ballards to be able to close off the streets safely. We've seen them in Pasadena. You just saw them at the Rose Parade. They're easy to move. They're portable. You can brand them. So that's something the city was going to talk about last night, and they're still going to be talking about it and the cost involved and everything else. So something fun you're going to see that the council approved, Rotary International. I'm a proud Rotarian. My dad was president of the first Rotary Club outside of the United States in 1949 in Holguin, Cuba. It's one of the few photos that we have from them there, and my dad, sitting there with my mom and the big sign, Holguin, Cuba, and Rotary International in 1949. So that's kind of cool. So I know what they stand for, Service Above Self, a great organization. So in honor of their 100, they donated $15,000 for a clock for downtown Downey. So the council last night was deciding whether to make it on 3rd Street or on 2nd Street, the corners, the southwest corners. And they decided on one of the options, and they decided to go with it on Downey and 3rd, and it's going to be black and gold. So it'll have the Rotary logo on it, celebrating 100 years, but it'll try to tie into that. So those are kind of cool things. The downtown district is trying to look at how else it can continue to brand and look at things. So that's kind of interesting to me how that's going to happen on there. But anyways, lots of public comment. Lots of discussion. Stay Gallery was still in the news. They approved a 1-year lease for them for a big $30,000. And they made a presentation. You had people there. Like I said, you had about 15 homeowners and about 15 people that talked about, the safety of having lights, of interrupting their peace. And then with the lighting study under CEQA would be involved, and who gets to participate and who gets to say on there. So all that discussion, so stay tuned for that. That's a long ways over, and it wouldn't be done until 2026. But if you're a Downey resident by Ferman Park, you better stay vigilant because this is moving. If I was on the council, I would not allow that. I think that's terrible to do that. I would use the lighting for the rest of the park, not just for the Little Leagues. And I love Little League. And I think Northwest Downey's done a great job, and they're really good people, and they work hard. Number one, you got to unlock your fields and let them open for others. One of the comments somebody wrote to me on it was, wow, we spent a lot of time raking the fields, and it's a special dirt, and we don't want anybody else to hurt it. I get it, but, that's part of it. I rake the fields. I help dig the dirt. Then somebody says, "Oh, I didn't do any of the work at West Downey." I'm like, folks, I was there for 29 years. I could tell you that on Saturday and Sundays, many times I was there 8-9 hours digging dirt, raking the fields, mowing the lawn, helping to put up the flagpole, digging the dugouts. So I put in my time, and I actually know. So I do know what it's involved to rake the fields. We Northwest Downey used to have the city rake and chalk the fields, and that stopped years ago. But West Downey has always had to do this. So I'm a pretty good guy at raking the fields and putting chalk lines and stuff like that. I did it for many years. I'm proud of that. So, and also running the snack shack. Anyways, so all I'm saying is public fields need to be used by the public, okay? You can have priority, okay? But I can go to any other field in Downey and practice on. So I shouldn't be able to have to jump a fence to play at a public park in Ferman Park. So anyway, all right. So we talked a lot about that. The comments on the city council, folks, they went along great. It did take a long time, the meeting, but there's a lot of collaboration going on between the council, a lot of discussions. Their council comments were appropriate. So I'm liking this, and I'm liking our city manager, Roger Bradley, and how he's bringing things up. So, folks, we're on the right path, and we're on the right track with this council. So I want to congratulate them and keep going. I think there's a lot of things that are coming up that I think we're going to be happy about. There's a lot of problems on the horizon, but I think you're going to be happy about it. One of the topics that's been behind the scenes lately, on February 6th, that Wednesday night in the Planning Commission, there's going to be a development coming up before the Planning Commission. I'm on the Planning Commission. I could tell you about what I've seen so far, but I can't tell you anymore because I'm not going to pre-grade or prejudge the item on there because that's not what planning commissioners do. But it's going to be 33 condos on the corner of Suva over there by Treasure Island. That's right now is a church, and one of the companies, Olson Homes, the ones that built the downtown condos, has bought it, and it's to that stage to bring it to the Planning Commission. So they say they've got 125 letters of support from the neighborhood and from the people in Downey. So I'll take them at their words. We are allowed, and I don't know how many other planning commissioners, we're allowed to meet with them. Our city attorney said they requested to give us, see if we had any questions before that night. So when they called me, I said, I don't need to meet with you, but I know enough about the project. I asked him a couple of questions about driving and mitigating the traffic and so forth, and I'll reserve my judgment to February 6th. So that's coming up. That's 33 new condos. The development office in the city of Downey has a really good report that they're now putting out every month, and there's like 40 different things that are on it. So I think in the future, Talking Downey, I'm going to just have it here and highlight some of the things for you, because sometimes people don't know what's coming, what's new and so forth. So I think it's kind of interesting. Somebody called me on it the other day. What did you ever do in Downey? You guys never do anything. You guys talk big. Some guy named John Forsyth, and that he used to live here and so forth. And I thought about it overnight and I laughed. I go, okay, so what did our council do? Because I didn't do anything, but we sure did. And we as the council, we worked really well together, and then with our city staff. So I kind of listed the things during my 8 years from, Columbia Center that we built, the Kaiser Hospital, the Discovery Sports Complex, the Promenade, the Landing, bringing in Portos, all these things, the street renovations on Ferman, on Firestone, on Imperial. And I laughed. I'm like, okay. I mean, when you look at it that way, that was a pretty successful tenor in our city's history on there. But I didn't do anything. We built it, including the residents and stuff. So he writes back. I guess he's a contractor of some kind, and he writes back to me. He goes, "Well, we on there, you didn't do anything. I didn't see you on the ground with dirt and so forth." And you kind of laugh, because it's like I have all respect for contractors and trades and people that are actually building with their hands. My son is part of the elevator union, so I know what he does and how hard he works. But folks, to me, we is leadership. Okay, did I literally get on Firestone and help bring the dirt up? No, but leadership gets you there and helps put it all together. So we had a great leadership in our city, and we built a lot of good things, so including I'm right here next to Portos. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm looking forward to your comments, your thoughts. What else do you want us to look for? We're going to have some guest hosts coming up starting next week. We have 2 coming up. I'm there, Councilman Horacio Ortiz, former Mayor Alex Saab. We're working out with our city manager to have him come on. We're going to talk about the police department and our interim chief. So there's all kinds of different subjects. So, let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know what you want to hear. So I also want to make a new announcement. So I'm saving it here to the end. And Brandon's looking at me like, okay, finally you're getting to that. So how long has this part been so far, Brandon?
So far, about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, I want to keep this under 25 minutes. So starting a new show. It's going to be called, this first show has always been hosted by Financial Partners Credit Union, by the way. Great organization in our city. Been here for 80 years, and they're so involved with our chamber, with our city, with our youth, that I'm so proud that they sponsor our show, the Talking Downey. But we're going to have a new show coming up, and this one's going to be called Talking California. And Talking California is going to be strictly politics, issues on California. It's broader than the city of Downey. We're going to have different type of guests. Eric's not going to be with me on that. He doesn't like talking politics. So that's going to be me and whatever guests that we have talking about California. From issues, the ballot Proposition 1. You should have gotten your ballot statement or your sample ballot booklet last night. So that's something that, you're going to be voting in the March 4th election. We had the primaries in New Hampshire a few days ago. So it looks like in the California primary is going to be on March the 4th. So you have a chance to vote for that. You have a chance to vote for mayor. Not for mayor. You have a chance to vote for Senate, U.S. Senate. All the other primaries that you have, the top 2 vote getters get in. For the U.S. Senate, you have 4 leading top getters, if you will. You had Adam Schiff, you have Barbara Lee, and you have Katie Porter. And all 3 of them are Democrats. Then you have Steve Harvey from L.A. Dodgers, and he's the only Republican. So what happens, the top 2 vote getters get into the general and then game on, and we'll be talking about this in November before that. But that issue is going to be talking about state issues, about state politics, about all the different measures. what's impacted, some of the stupid laws that we're passing in California, and some of them are really stupid. I highlighted, and I will be highlighting some of the other ones on there that have come up. But just a general talking California, why are people moving out of California, or why are they moving in? With this cold weather in the last couple of weeks on there, I feel so terrible for everybody back east. But you look at that, and that's when we say, wow, I'm glad I live in Southern California. Yes, we have earthquakes. Yes, we have mudslides. Yes, we have issues like everybody else. But, there's a lot more Teslas that are being charged in here. And I make fun of that. I feel terrible for all the Tesla owners back east at the charging stations and work. Anyways, I don't want to bore it, but talking California, I want to know what your one issues are on that. So text me. My cell number is 562-706-4114. 562-706-4114. My email is mario@guerrains.com. I as an independent, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam. Mario@guerrains.com, and my cell number. I'd welcome your thoughts on anything to do with the program, with Talking Downey or Talking California. So thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a follower. In the last couple of weeks, I've had several people. I had people at the YMCA board meeting. By the way, the YMCA, they're moving forward. That building is going to be built. There's some amazing people on that board working towards getting that built. And God bless you. Stay tuned. We're going to have an awesome YMCA. You saw some of the trees cut down there the other day because we had some issues with them. But that's exciting. I'm on that board, and we're moving forward. So the Columbia Memorial Space Center, that development of that building, that's moving forward. And I'll fill you in and give you some more information on that. So fun, big legacy, big things, items happening in the city of Downey. And I'm proud to live here. So I welcome your comments. I welcome your thoughts. Thank you for listening. Oh, at that board meeting, two people came up from the board, and one of them says, hey, I live in Pasadena, but I learned about Downey by listening and watching your shows. So we got an opportunity to see what's going on, get the flavor on that. So if you're listening today, Dan, thank you for that. I heard you, and it's kind of fun. So, all right, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching Talking Downey, and for future watching Talking California. God bless. Have a beautiful week.